I know some of you are still waiting for The Chosen Season 5 to arrive on the Chosen app so that you can watch it for free. But since international fans are also getting the episodes on Prime Video this week, I think it's a good time to talk about Season 6, when we're getting it, what we're going to see, what Dallas Jenkins said about the plot, and how bloody or gory the crucifixion will be depicted. We actually have a good amount of info about Season 6 and Season 7, including when the crucifixion episode and the resurrection episode will be released in theaters around the world. Let's talk about everything related to Season 6. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about that jaw-dropping ending of Season 5, the moment we finally saw the infamous kiss of betrayal by Judas. Then we'll get into when Season 6 is coming and what we can expect. Let's dive in. I know that whole episode was incredible, especially that scene with Thaddeus and Jesus. That was something else, perhaps one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. Elizabeth Tabish recently gave an interview where she said that scene was her favorite from the season as well. It looks like it impacted a lot of people, and it impacted me too, and I wanted to share that. But I want to zoom in on those final moments so we can quickly go over what happened and how it sets the stage for Season 6. In the final moments of Episode 8, we see Jesus and the disciples walking by torchlight until they reach the walled Garden of Gethsemane. But only Peter, James, and John go further in with Jesus while the rest wait outside. Everything that happens in the garden is just full of emotion and heartbreak, all the things that I know made a lot of you cry. We know that Jesus is overwhelmed. He even tells John that he's sorrowful to the point of death. Peter offers to get a doctor, but Jesus says he's putting himself in God's hands, the great physician, and asks the three to stay awake and pray with him. But as he walks deeper into the garden, the disciples are already asleep. Jesus leans against the rock and begins to pour his heart out in prayer. He's shaken, saying things like, "I don't think I can do this, and you ask too much of me." That's when he has a vision of Abraham and Isaac preparing for the sacrifice, and it's Isaac asking, "Where is the lamb?" With Abraham replying, "God will provide." Jesus watches this moment and reminds Isaac not to fear. God spared him. Then Jesus prays again, touched by this vision, and whispers to his Father, "I trust you." When he returns, he finds the disciples asleep. He's frustrated, of course, because he had told them to stay awake and pray, but they couldn't. They were too weak. He goes back into the garden again and sees another vision, this time in the Valley of Dry Bones where he meets Ezekiel. We also see him find the disciples asleep again, but this time he sees them as their younger childlike selves. So he feels compassion for them and lets them rest. He prays again, and at that moment we see his earthly father, Joseph. They embrace, and it's such an emotional scene. Joseph tells him he'll be waiting for him. In the final moments of the episode, Jesus wakes Peter, James, and John and says, "The hour has come." At the gate of the garden, a mob arrives with torches, and we see Judas reveal himself behind everyone. Such a dramatic scene, right? He says, "Rabbi," and Jesus replies, "My friend, do what you came to do." And Judas kisses him. That's the final shot of Season 5. Phenomenal storytelling, right? I loved it. I cried a lot, I have to admit. I love that they included the visions, and the fact that the last scene was so dramatic with Judas stepping out at the very end was amazing to me. I absolutely loved the finale and Season 5 as a whole. I think it was a very strong season, and I found it to be an improvement compared to Season 4. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. Now, moving on to Season 6. Filming actually started a few months ago in the US. They've already shot the arrest of Jesus and part of his trial, including scenes with Pilate, which we caught glimpses of in some behind-the-scenes footage. Then the team, not everyone, for example, most of the disciples weren't there. I only saw John, flew to Italy to film the crucifixion scenes. Most of the women were there though, like Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Lazarus' sisters, but I didn't see any of the other apostles besides John. Here, I can show you some leaked photos of Jonathan on the cross. They're very low quality, yes, I know, but still incredibly emotional. We also saw this photo of his body double, and you can see the amount of wounds on his body. I have to be honest, it doesn't look that bloody or gory to me, at least not compared to the Passion of the Christ. We don't know how much blood they'll add during post-production, but it seems like Dallas won't go for extreme gore. He'll focus more on the emotional side of the story. And he actually talked about this in an interview with People magazine. He said that season 6 will be raw and emotionally intense, but not as graphically violent as The Passion of the Christ. He said he's leaning into emotional depth rather than explicit gore thanks to the deep connection viewers already have after 5 seasons. He believes there is no need for excessive violence to convey the story's power because the emotional investment is already there. And he's right. In a movie like The Passion of the Christ, we only know the character of Jesus for about 2 hours. But with The Chosen, we've spent 5 full seasons getting to know him. And we'll get more in season 6. So I'm totally fine with a depiction that's emotionally gripping without being overly graphic. After filming the crucifixion scenes in Italy for 3 weeks, the crew returned to the US where they're now continuing to shoot the rest of season 6. For example, the trial before the Sanhedrin. You can even see Herod's purple robe, which we'll later see on Jesus during the flogging scene. We don't know exactly how much longer filming will go on, but Dallas said this is the longest shoot they've ever done for the show. Also, the release plan for season 6 will be different from what we're used to. We're getting 6 regular episodes, and instead of 2 more episodes, there will be a feature-length film focusing entirely on the crucifixion. But here's the catch. Those 2 parts won't come out at the same time. Dallas hasn't given us an exact release date for the 6 episodes yet, but he did say we should expect them around the end of 2026. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wait. As for the crucifixion movie, we do have a theatrical release date, March 12, 2027. Then season 7, the season that will focus on the resurrection, will have a similar release strategy. But this time we'll get a movie focusing on the resurrection first, and that's coming in 2028. The remaining 6 episodes of season 7 should come out toward the end of that same year. I'm sure we'll get more details during the Chosen Con happening in February 2026. Dallas mentioned that he plans to show a full episode from season 6 there, or at the very least a bunch of scenes. Hopefully, that's when we'll get a clear release schedule for Prime Video theaters and the app. Meanwhile, if you want to learn more about the other projects in the Chosen universe, like the Book of Moses, check out